Hi, this is Chris from Motolegends, the chap in the cap, here today to talk to you about a laminated suit from our Belgian friends at Richa. It is called the Arc GTX. So here I am with my colleague Billy the Boot, and this morning Billy is modelling the Richa Arc GTX suit. Now that's important because until now it hasn't really been a suit. We've had the Richa Arc GTX jacket in the range for a couple of years, but Richa hadn't got a matching pant to go with it. They kind of matched it with a pant called the Atlantic, but it didn't look quite the same, it didn't have venting, it didn't come across as a proper thought through suit. So now, and we're recording this in January 2020, this is a proper suit. It does everything that you would expect. But one has to say that Richa have bitten off a lot with this suit because it's now entered the market at a very competitive price point, and there are lots of very strong competitors who are going to be competing directly with this suit. I suppose the most obvious one is Halvarsens. They've got a combination called the Walkier and Wish. It's very well known. Like this suit, it's a two-layer laminate. Trousers are fantastic. We have a few issues with it with the jacket, but Halvarsens is, it's got to be said, a slightly more upmarket brand than Richa. Richa has historically been a mid-market brand, but they're starting to punch a little bit above their weight. So this is a fantastic suit, but Richa knocking on the heels of Halvarsens is going to be a challenge for them. There's also, at this end of the market, there's a new suit this year from Rucker. It is called the Calyx 2. It's a much improved version over the Calyx 1 that they had last year. It's got much better venting. They've lowered the price. That's a Gore-Tex suit, the same as this. But that at £1,100 is very close to this. So £1,060 versus £1,100. Most people are going to say, well, if I can get a Rucker suit for the extra £40, I'll take the Rucker. Not sure that that's the right decision, because even though the Rucker suit is fantastic, they've taken away lots of the bells and whistles that make a suit nice to ride in. So just basic things like armour. This comes complete with a back protector. The Rucker suit doesn't. Importantly, the Rucker suit doesn't have any thermal lining in at all. So whilst the Rucker suit comes across as an £1,100 suit, by the time you put all the bits and bobs in it, it's going to be a £1,300 plus suit. So a slightly unfair comparison. Rucker have made their suit look less expensive than in reality it is. But that's the point I want to make. This is a great suit, but it's up against some great competitors. What I want to do now, I want to talk through the suit. Billy's going to get off the bike. We're going to look at the details. I'm going to explain all the features that come with this suit, and then it's up to you to decide whether this is the one for you. So I'm going to talk about the jacket initially, then Billy's going to take the jacket off, and we'll go on a little bit later and talk about the trousers, because there's some features there that I want to highlight, and it's much easier to see when we're taking the jacket off. First thing to say is this is a laminate jacket, and it's a Gore-Tex laminate jacket. Now, for those of you who don't understand laminate, that's the superior form of waterproofing, where you take the waterproof membrane and you bond it onto the outer fabric. It means that the jacket, and it's the same with the pant, cannot wet out because water cannot get inside the fabric. On a traditional drop liner jacket, you've got a membrane that hangs down, you've got the outer fabric, water can get in that outer fabric, it can swill around in 3, 4, 5 hours of rain, it'll get heavy with rain, it'll make you feel cold, it will take ages to dry out. This will get damp on the outside, but it will not ever get to a stage that we call a wet out. Now, historically, laminates have been 3-layer. The most famous laminate construction in the market is the Gore-Tex 3-layer Pro Shell. Problem with 3-layer is it's a little bit uncomfortable because you have the outer material or cordura or whatever that is, you've got the membrane, and then you'd have an inner protective layer on the inside. It made for a jacket that was stiff, it did a job, it was very waterproof, but it was not nice to ride in, certainly not nice to walk around in. But the kind of guys who were buying those suits back in the day, they needed a suit to do the job. The suit did the job, and they were prepared to make the compromise in terms of comfort. There has been a move more recently towards 2-layer laminates, and this is a 2-layer laminate. Even Gore-Tex have introduced a suit this year, which is 2020, which is a 2-layer. 2-layer is more comfortable, it's just nicer to wear. So as the laminates are becoming, they're moving from being semi-professional suits to being the kind of suits that a weekend rider can wear. They have had a need to make laminates more comfortable. This is a 2-layer, it is more comfortable than a 3-layer would be. But what Richa have done in their wisdom, and I know why they've done it, but they've put a very heavy durable water repellent on this jacket. Now, every motorcycle garment has a durable water repellent. It's basically a coating, and it's that coating that causes water when it first lands on a fabric to pool and run off. It helps make a jacket more waterproof, because if you can prevent the initial rain at the start of a downpour from soaking into the jacket, you're going to give the wearer a longer period before the water starts to seep in and starts to make you feel wet and so on. With this jacket, they have a particularly heavy application of DWR. It's going to make this a very, very waterproof jacket, but I think it's compromised the comfort a little bit. It's made it a little bit crinkly, a little bit stiff, and you can hear Billy as he's moving around. Some jackets out there are just very soft and move very easily, even laminate jackets. This one doesn't fall quite into that category. It's just something that you need to be aware of. In terms of fit, it is a tight-fitting suit, as I think I've mentioned. It is a sporting fit, curved arms and so on. It's not going to suit everyone, but if that's what you're looking for, then fantastic. In terms of protection, the jacket's comes as standard with D3O armor in the elbows, in the shoulders, in the back. Not every jacket, even at this price point. So for example, the Halvarsons and the Rucker don't come as standard with a back protector. So it's a nice bonus to have a back protector in this. You've also got a provision for a chest protector. Now, on the sleeves, there's another nice element here. I just want to show this. This is super fabric. I have to say this is not super fabric as we recognize it. We know super fabric of old as those ceramic beads, really heavy, the most abrasion resistant material you can use on a motorcycle garment. The old Rucker Armor S used to have it. The Stadler Supervent has it. It's incredibly impressive, but it adds to the stiffness of a garment. Richa tell us absolutely that this is super fabric, but it must be some form of super fabric light. So it's there as an anti-abrasion material, but it's not quite the super fabric that we kind of know and love. Other little things in terms of protection, little soft pads all over the jacket, so if you do go down, it might just help. It just makes the jacket a little bit more absorbent. One of the other things about a laminate jacket, where a laminate jacket is better in some ways than a drop liner jacket, is in its venting. Now, when you've got a vent in a drop liner jacket, you've got a hole in the outer fabric, but the air still has to pass through a waterproof membrane, and that waterproof membrane is windproof. You will still cool down, but you'll cool down a different way. The air will circulate around the body, but it won't go directly onto the body. In a laminate jacket or a laminate pant, when you have an opening, because the membrane is bonded on, the air goes straight through. So venting in laminate jackets work better than they do on drop liner jackets. And here we have two fairly decent vents on the chest, and we have vents here up the sides as well. So a more than reasonable amount of venting. In terms of insulation, this jacket has a thinsulate inner jacket that goes all the way down the sleeves. Thinsulate is a premium quality hollow fiber material. It's an insulating material. It's also a little bit waterproof. It shows once again that Richa haven't cut corners on this suit. They've used all the best proprietary materials to make this jacket as good as it possibly can be. If you can just do that up again. Adjusters. This suit is not going to work on everyone. As I've said, it's quite a slim suit. I've compared it before with the Halvarsons Valkyr and Wish. Now, that's a suit that is a little bit baggy. If you are of a more portly disposition, then the Valkyr works well, but it doesn't have adjusters to make it work on slimmer people. This is naturally a slimmer suit, but at the same time, it's got some nice adjusters that mean that we can create a little bit more room inside it if, for example, you want to put better base layers or more base layers in it. So we have nice adjusters on the waist here. We have adjusters on the arms. The idea of adjusters on the arms is that we don't want them flapping in the wind. When you take the thinsulate base layer out, then that's going to create more volumes in the sleeves, so you want to be able to tighten them up. We've also got some adjusters here on the waist. Zips throughout, by the way, are YKK. Yet another indication Richa are throwing everything at this jacket. YKK make the world's best zips. These are their top waterproof and water resistant zips. Nice little touch here. That will hook back there so that on a warm day, if you do not want to have this closed up, it allows a little bit more air in there. That's a nice little magnetic closure. Neoprene collar here. Neoprene is fantastic. It does two things. It's comfortable to wear against the skin, but importantly, in heavy rain, it will absorb water before it runs down the neck. One of the problems with any suit is the largest area or the greatest weak point for water ingress is the neck. There's a darn great hole here. Water can get in. Now, what happens in heavy rain? Water comes down the helmet. It runs down here into the neck. Once it creates a channel inside a jacket, it's going to run down the jacket. It's going to pool around the crotch. A neoprene collar catches that water and stops it running down the jacket. So again, a nice little detailed feature. In terms of pockets on this jacket, there are internal pockets, both in the jacket itself and also in the thermal liner. So you're not going to be short of pockets here. There's a phone pocket, there's a main pocket there. So lots of pockets on the inside. Two external pockets as well, again with YKK zips. And then on the back of the jacket, there's a map pocket or a cargo pocket, whatever you want to call it. And that is, we think it's more used to a pillion passenger. If you've got someone behind you who wants to keep the credit card and bits and bobs in there, that's often a useful pocket to have. On the sleeves, we have these long gussets. Now, that to us is really important. There are a few jackets out there, very high priced jackets with too small an aperture on the arm. On a jacket like this, a waterproof jacket, you really want to be able to get the cuff of your glove inside. You wear the cuff on the inside on a waterproof jacket, so as water runs down it, it doesn't go into the hands. So what we want to be able to do always is open it up, get the cuff inside there. Once the cuff's inside there, we zip that down and then we cinch it as tight as we possibly can. That's the way a sleeve should be done. There are some suits on the market, for example, the Calyx suit, the Rucker suit that is at a similar price to this, that does not have adjusters on the wrist. So nice bells and whistles on a suit like this that some of the more expensive suits are missing. It's got a few other bits and bobs I just want to talk through in terms of comfort. We've got some accordion panels, stretch panels here. We've got them in the back. So even though this is a slim fitting jacket, I think it's a jacket that if it fits you, once you're on the bike, it's going to be incredibly comfortable to ride in. Nice little touches, lots of reflective panels here on the neck, on the back here. May look small, but actually if you're following a bike at night, often the only thing you can see, there's a red light, but you don't know if that's a bicycle. But these reflectors stand out really well. We've got them down the side, across the chest, and so on. Finally, the point I wanted to make is about a connecting zip. Now, this hasn't been something that Richa have done historically. They have often had a small zip at the back, which works fine on a leather jacket to a pair of jeans, something like that, but it's not really robust enough on a full-on touring suit. It's just not strong enough. The other thing is that a short zip doesn't really stop the water ingress, it doesn't stop the cold air ingress. What we want is a 360-degree zip. It also makes the connection between the jacket and the pant much more secure, because what it means is that if you slide down the road, that you will be totally connected. It cannot pull apart. So that's pretty much, it doesn't look very nice now, but if Billy, you can tuck that down. This is the Richa Arc jacket. It's got lots of bells and whistles. Nothing is missing from this jacket. Just one little point that I forgot to mention. It's got a lowered back. We always like to see that on a proper jacket. Obviously, if it's connected, it doesn't matter as much, but it's just another area. It's another element of protection, and it stops cold air getting in. It's nice when you sit on the bike to have the tail of the jacket actually touching the seat. So that's the Arc GTX. Now we're going to go on and look at the trousers. So as I mentioned before, we had the Richa Arc GTX jacket a couple of years ago, but it didn't have a matching pant. This year for 2020, Richa have introduced an Arc trouser. It's everything we could have wanted. Again, it's got all the bells and whistles that we've got on a jacket. Just going to talk through it, but I think it's a fine pair of trousers. Again, I've got to say, it's fairly slim fitting. Billy is quite thin and tall, and these are quite tight on him. So this is a slim fitting suit without a doubt. Obviously, It's laminate, it's a 2-layer laminate, so waterproofing is not going to be an issue. You've got the same zip-out thermal liner that you've got with the jacket, which is infused with Thinsulate, and you've got vents. Where are they, Billy? Okay. So reasonable size vents. Again, lots of other bits and bobs that it's nice to see on and that one only sees at times on a really premium trouser. We've got elasticated panels run all the way down the inside of the leg. There's elastication here, just makes the jacket a little bit more comfortable, or sorry, the pants a little bit more comfortable for moving about on the bike. You've got reflectors here and here. You've got at the bottom of the leg, you've got a really long zip. So these are going to go over most boots. You're not going to wear this suit in truth with an off-road boot, but you're not going to have any problem getting any kind of touring Daytona style boot underneath these. And again, long reflective panels up there. In terms of armor, it comes with D3O knee armor. I'm a little bit disappointed, I've got to say, it doesn't have hip armor. And what's a little bit misleading and technically illegal, so I must tell Richa this, they have supplied the pants with pads in the hips. Now, you can't do that if you're putting anything in hips that anyone's going to think is a protector. It's got to be a CE-approved protector. Those are, in some ways, just to tell you where the space is. They are not protectors. If you buy a pair of these, don't rely on those bits of foam providing anything by way of protection. Adjusters here on the waist, and as we've mentioned before with the jacket, we've got a short zip around the back if you're just popping down the shops but you'd like to connect, and then a full 360-degree zip as well. Braces, we are fans of wearing braces. Our view is that you wear a motorcycle pant slightly loose. We don't want it tight around the waist because when you sit on the bike, everything drops, it makes it painful and uncomfortable. We prefer a loose trouser suspended on braces. However, not everyone likes braces, not everyone can get used to them, but we like a trouser that takes a brace. What we really like about this is this panel at the back. The bib helps, but when it's on the front, it means it makes the jacket less breathable. So to have a panel like that up the back, I think that's a nice way of doing it. Obviously, it unzips if you don't want to wear the braces. So that's the Richa Arc pants. They are priced at £460. So about right for a pant of this quality. As I've said, for the entire suit, Billy, what does the entire suit come to?
£1060.
£1060. It's right up there with the Rucker Calyx and the Halvarsons, Welkia and Wish. But this has got a lot of features that neither of those jackets have. So it's going to be a difficult choice. So that was the Richa Arc GTX laminated suit. If you want to look at other laminated suits, and I think we have probably a dozen different suits on the website, go to motolegends.com. If you are particularly taken with the Arc, however, then you can go directly to the relevant page on the website by clicking on the button up there. You can check out the detail and the spec in a little bit more detail than I've given you today. You can also, obviously, if you were wanting to buy, you can check out availability and sizing. And of course, you can buy there and then if you are so minded. Now, when you buy from Motolegends, we try to make the process as simple, straightforward and risk-free as we possibly can. There's no P&P on any protective wear that you buy from us. Similarly, once you've received something, if you've changed your mind, if you don't like it, if it's not what you thought it was, you can return it to us again at our cost. And we give you a full 12 months to make up your mind. We're not expecting you to take a suit like this, ride around in it for 6 months and then send it back to us saying, no, actually, I've changed my mind. But we're taking all the pressure off. If you're busy when the suit comes out to you, then there's no rush. Get it back to us when it's convenient to you. We also have here at Motolegends what we think is an unbeatable price promise. Now, John Lewis is really well known for their never knowingly undersold, but we go one stage better. They will match anyone's price. We will beat any competitor's discounted price by up to 10%. No, not by up to 10%, by 10%. So if we are selling a jacket for £400, you find someone selling that same jacket in the UK for £300, we will sell you that jacket for £270. You can do your homework before you buy the jacket and come and tell us and you'll buy it at £270 there and then, or you can do your homework up to 2 weeks after you've bought your item from us and we will just refund your credit card. There are a few terms and conditions. They're not particularly onerous, but you can find those on the website. What I would say is if you are matching us against a European competitor as opposed to someone in the UK, we will match their price, including their P&P charge. And given the costs involved in sending something back to Europe, if a button falls off or the zip breaks, honestly, it makes sense to buy it in the UK if you possibly can. Now, if in future you would like to receive bulletins from us about new products, then if you go to the top of the front page of the website, there's a piece of script there that says newsletter sign up. Click on there. Seconds later, you'll be signed up. You'll receive all of our email bulletins in the future. If, however, you prefer to receive your information videographically in this form, then we would be simply delighted if you wanted to become a subscriber to our YouTube channel, and you can do that by clicking on the button bottom right. Finally, I just want to make a little play for our shop here in Surrey. We've got a shop, it's a small shop, or the footprint of the shop is small. We're based just on the edges of Guildford. But even though the shop itself is small, it's attached to our warehouse. Our warehouse has 3 floors jammed with gear. We have over £2 million worth of apparel here in the building. So actually that makes us the second largest shop in the country. So if you come here, you stand a better chance of finding the right laminated suit for you in the colourway you want, in the size you want, than you do anywhere else in the UK. Anyway, this has been Chris at Motolegends. I hope to talk again soon.